Charlton Zoning Board of Appeals, today's Tuesday, April 8th, 2025. We call the meeting to order. First we have, Mr. Hanson on both of these right here. First one I have was the 101 Sandersdale Road.
Mm-hmm.
You had applied for a variance for a common driveway.
Correct.
So where do you stand with that?
Well, we filed the ANRAD. I have Art Allen's out there right now. He did the peer review.
Okay.
So the determination for that stream, that east-west stream, is going to be a perennial stream. So the way it's looking right now is, in order for me to access, the 3 lots, most likely a crossing is going to be needed, because if we put the houses in the front, it's going to be hard to meet some of the performance standards in Title V too, and some DEP standards. So that doesn't mean that I'm not going to present anything in the front, but really what we're looking for is to begin engineering to get the crossing, so we can present to conservation, stormwater and everything else.
So you haven't done that. You're still a ways away from that. From what they need. From getting some sort of determination from the conservation office.
Yeah, conservation basically. I mean, DEP's what they're gonna do is give us some comments probably.
Okay.
They're gonna say avoid, minimize, mitigate. So they're probably gonna tell us that if you cross once, it's gonna be a lot less detrimental than crossing twice. That's what I would think.
But you don't have a plan where the crossing is right now? They haven't made any determination for that at all?
I have a plan where the crossing is.
Okay, but that hasn't been has conservation issued an order of conditions or DP?
Oh, we're not going to get an order of conditions yet. No, because we're filing the ANRAD to make sure the line's locked in. So if you want to wait till this needs to get further, I mean, we can.
How much longer do they think conservation's going to be on this?
So it'll be the ANRAD and then...
Well, we're going to file the ANRAD basically so that we can lock that line and we get what's called the ORAD.
But the ANRAD hasn't been filed yet. You guys are still working on it.
Oh, we have to continue because I had to redo the existing conditions plan to mark some flags that were moved.
Okay.
So my survey is going out there. I think he might have even been out there today. So he's going to give me a new existing conditions plan. We're going to agree to the line. Conservation's going to agree to the line. We're going to record the ORAD. Once that's recorded, now we can start talking about development. So really, even at this point, even if access was granted, I still have to go through planning board. I still have to go through conservation. That, access is not going to give me a building permit. You know what I mean?
But all you're asking for here is,
Yep.
The bylaw says that you're allowed a common driveway for 2 lots by right.
Correct.
Okay, so you're asking for an additional one, right?
Well, I have an A&R lot. I'm asking for access to the A&R lot.
Well, the A&R lot by
Yes.
definition means that you already have access to the road.
Yeah, we do have public access to the road.
Right, but you're asking us is for
Yes.
a common driveway
Correct.
of 3 lots instead
Correct.
of 2 lots.
So the point is that the hardship there is because the river's in the way of me accessing the upland.
Right, but they haven't made that final
Okay, that's
determination.
fine.
That's what I'm asking you.
Yeah, they haven't made the determination yet, but,
Okay.
I mean,
So the board, okay, so right now, you originally applied in January on this. We've had our first meeting. Now we're in February.
yep.
So the question is how much longer before that happens? How much, so if he submitted an ANRAD next week.
So he has an ANRAD in front of us.
Okay.
After the ANRAD turns into an ORAD, like he says he gets that recorded, he will have to come back in front of us with another application for what he wants to
We'll
build.
file a notice of intent.
Yes, an NOI.
This is what we're looking to do.
And then and then he can submit whether or not the common driveway and the crossings and all at that point.
Yes, he would put a plan in front of conservation. I'm not sure if conservation has
So with conservation, sorry, go ahead.
You could.
Conservation will probably look at it, get the comments from DEP, see what they say. And they're obviously going to look for the least amount of, because in the riverfront you got to meet certain standards. So we're going to be allowed 10%, all right, up to 10%
Okay.
of disturbance. So they're gonna come back, we're gonna show them the alternatives, and they're gonna say, well, what's the least amount of disturbance to the wetland? And most likely, you know, the least amount is gonna be the one crossing to access the third lot.
This is the reason we continued it in the first place.
Right.
Because we didn't have a hardship yet.
Right, we still don't know.
That's fine.
So the question is do we want to continue it further? Have him ask to continue it further? Or what do you want to do? Do you want to,
How long do we continue it?
I don't know. Kurt, is there an answer to that?
You and the applicant under mutual agreement can continue
Would-
it forever.
That's fine, if you guys need more information, I'm fine with that.
It just becomes a practicality point is the better course of action on the applicant's part, suggestion, to withdraw until he has something.
Yeah, because if it's going to be another 2 or 3 months before you do this, it doesn't make more sense for us to meet every
That's
30
fine.
or 60 days to withdraw. I mean, it costs you $300.
Yeah, we can withdraw without
Okay.
prejudice.
Yeah,
You know
I mean,
what I mean?
and that's exactly
fine.
what it. Yeah.
So what I'll do is I'll go to the NOI, we'll get the comments back. Once we get a DEP number, a file number,
Yeah.
I'll come back and say this
And
is
so
what
we need to have that hardship. Like,
Yeah,
so
yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
and that's gonna come from conservation basically.
But you do understand that it's up to the board whether or not they want to accept that hardship. It's not an automatic.
That's understood.
Okay.
We understand that.
Yeah.
So if Mr. Hanson is going to ask for
So-
a continuance, or I'm sorry, he's going to want to withdraw without prejudice, then I suggest that he verbalize that and put it in writing, and then the board can accept that. And then at a later date, Mr. Hanson can reapply with the complete set of documentation so that the board can make a thoughtful decision for him.
You have a piece of paper, do you? One of you guys?
We'll get a piece of paper next time.
So all you have to ask us is to make a motion to withdraw without prejudice, and
Yeah,
you
so we can-
resubmit. And then you can just put it in writing so I have it in my file.
Yeah. So I can resubmit within a year.
You can resubmit whenever you want.
But
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have to wait a year.
You don't have to wait. Yeah. If we voted, then you'd have to wait 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So is it something?
Is anybody here for the Saundersdale?
Yeah.
Do you guys have any comments or anything like that?
No, we're just curious to see how it goes.
Okay.
What happens.
So you understand what we're doing right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Is this something I can email to you? You gotta do it right now.
Just put it in writing, just like I request to withdraw
All right.
without prejudice.
I get it.
It doesn't have to be fancy.
Yeah. Just put the address of the project
Yeah, that's fine.
and just sign it and date it.
Yeah, you can sign
Okay,
it.
yeah,
That
no
works
problem.
too.
Okay.
Get it notarized, under seal, with wax.
We'll wait.
All right. So I guess I have to refile. $300.
That's how much it costs.
Talking real money.
Yeah. So I have a request to withdraw the petition for located 101 Saundersdale or Sandersdale, whatever you want to call it this week, from the petitioner. Is there a motion to accept the withdrawal without prejudice?
Motion to accept.
Without prejudice?
Without prejudice.
Is there a second? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Put this in the file, Dale. So then the next one here is Lot 5, Highland Road.
Yep.
So I've been giving this one quite a bit of thought. So first is, I know you're having some issues with the town line or whatever.
That's been resolved.
Yeah, so
So, go ahead.
the second part of that is, you know,
I don't think it has been resolved.
It's in the courts right now, we were told.
yeah.
Because I'm
so
a
the
property owner in Spencer.
The second part of that is that you're asking for us for a variance to split that into 2 lots, correct? That you're gonna
Correct.
make,
And-
right?
Well, yeah, sort of.
Yeah. So, you know, my thinking on this is that you bought like 4 or 5 of those lots all together in a lot.
Yep.
And you knew what you were getting into. So, like, in my mind, I can't see where you have a hardship for us to grant a variance so you can split that into 2 lots.
I feel there's a hardship though, because
Like,
I gotta be able to tell my side.
Okay.
So, what I have here is that lot 5B.
Yeah.
So, there's the issue here that I've been dealing with, Kurt, back and forth.
Yeah.
Is that this Ether Drive, okay,
Okay.
that cuts through this lot.
Okay.
Cuts through my lot. The big question here has been the ownership of this new line. Now, this line's been confirmed through a confirmatory deed.
But that doesn't mean that you own that land, though.
Exactly. I
But
pay
hold on.
taxes
I-
on that
I-
land.
I haven't
Pretty
finished.
good.
Yeah.
Zoning wise, I own the fee interest. I own the ground. I own the mineral rights to that. I own all that. Okay?
No.
No, but yes, I do.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
It's agriculturally zoned.
No, that has nothing. That's not
Now-
zoning. Has nothing to
Now,
do with it.
the board is talking to him. Okay, if you'd like to speak, you'll get your chance.
So
Okay?
what has happened is that this road was never laid out. Okay, so the
Yeah.
road was never laid out.
I understand that.
So there was no easements or anything ever granted to whoever laid this road out.
Okay.
So what happened is, it's been there for 100 years.
Yeah.
So this is what's called now, they probably have a prescriptive easement because they've been using it, it's open.
Yeah.
So now, if the town line was shown wrong, and that's been confirmed through a confirmatory deed, an 81X plan, okay, and I had the grantors, me as the grantee, sign this deed, the reason why Ether Drive, you are correct, I cannot use this area for zoning. For zoning, I cannot use this to count as area, even though I do own it. Okay? I can't use it to count for area. Well, I don't understand why it's funny, but
You don't own the land.
who owns the land?
I have no idea. That's not on us to figure out.
Yeah, but I'm asking you,
So,
well, if you
like, just-
say that I don't own it, then you need to have an answer for that.
No, I don't have to have an answer for that. You're the petitioner, not me.
No, I know, but you're telling me I don't own the land.
So
who
here's
owns
the
it?
deal. All right, they did multiple plans on that, and granted, they may have had where the town line is on that incorrectly.
Right.
And I don't know whether that's right or it's wrong, or you might be absolutely right that town line is there. But when
Okay.
those plans were done, back from whenever to the
Yeah.
last plan before you bought it, okay?
Right.
There was meets and bounds put in that. So, it was 50 by 100 by 50, whatever it was.
Right.
That's what you own. Okay? Doesn't make a difference where the town line is. That's what you own. So you may have a right to do that, but in my opinion, you don't own that in fee simple right now. You'd have to file an action to quiet title on that section of land, in my opinion.
So what you're saying is the
So I don't think-
abutters-
I don't even
what you're
think-
saying is
I don't
the
even think the
abutters
pri-
hold the interest in it?
I don't think even the prior owner has the right to deed you that extra piece of land. They never had it to begin with themselves, neither did the people before them.
But the thing is because the line was wrong for 100
And
years.
you might be right, but I think that requires an action to quiet title on that section of land. You don't have marketable title to that.
But I don't know. I was told different. From
Yeah.
my lawyer. I mean, my lot bounds the way. I have clear and free access to the buildable upland. I'm not trespassing.
I'm, you
You
may
get what
not
I'm
be
saying?
any of that stuff at all, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have good and marketable title to it.
Now, is ownership something that the town deals with, or
How
is
can-
that something that a lawyer should deal with?
That's something that the courts would have to deal with in your case, in my opinion. Because that's up to your lawyer to talk to your lawyer about. That's not.
So basically, if you, let's say this was denied, so basically what you would do then is say that you don't see that I hold deed to it.
Right. I think from my opinion on the, and you guys can step in whenever you want. I mean, in terms of the variance, I think that's the lesser of the problem for me. All right. The greater of the problem, at least for me. Now the board may feel differently than that, and I know that's up to them, and that's always our discussion. Is that, you know, my take on it is this: is that you purchased all of those lots together, you know, from that whoever owned it prior to you, right? And they were all, you know, A&R buildable lots when you purchased them, okay? So you knew you were getting into that, right? So this particular, you sold the other lots. This particular lot, there was no hardship for you to build a house on that, all right? To create two lots out of this. All right, this is a self-created hardship in my opinion. Like, you could build a house on this tomorrow. You just can't build two houses on that.
But at the end of the day, I think what you're telling me is it's a land grab.
No, it's not a land grab. I mean,
saying what I'm asking.
You're in business.
Yeah,
I
what I'm
understand you're in
asking
business,
for,
but you're
that-
trying to squeeze another lot out of the
Of course,
land.
why wouldn't you? That's
I
business,
disagree,
right?
but I
We're
don't
here
think that
because it's
necessarily.
business.
But that's, in my opinion,
see
that
what I'm
doesn't
saying?
create a hardship.
Well, it can create a hardship.
It creates a hardship
I'm
business-wise,
not
but
coming
not
I'm not
land-wise.
coming to this board with anything that they haven't granted before for new construction. Okay, I have plenty of past variances I can even show you where this
You
has
can show
been
me.
considered.
You can show me.
This has been considered.
You could show me variances from 1986, right? None of those variances were on this lot. We only look at what's in front of us right now.
I know, but-
So past decisions make
Wow.
no difference to me at all.
When they go to court, what goes? It goes by case law, right?
Yeah, but case law has nothing to do with this.
So you're going to tell me if you grant a variance for new construction for area, that when I go and appeal this, that they're going to say, well, that doesn't
They're not
set a
gonna-
precedent, so
no,
it's
there's
okay
no-
for
there's
it's
no
okay for
precedent.
you, but not okay for me.
It's not, well, the circumstances of that lot might be different than your lot.
0 wetlands, all uplands.
It doesn't make any difference.
4,000 square feet of area
Right.
is what I'm asking for. That's
Yeah.
all I'm asking for.
Yeah.
I'm not asking for 20 variances.
But you
I'm
could
asking
build a
for
house
one.
on this right now. There's no hardship for you.
But you're taking a lot from me. For
No, I'm
something
not.
that-
You bought one lot.
It
You
doesn't
want to
matter
now
what I
create
bought.
two
So-
lots out of that, Chris.
Yeah, but if I bought one lot, right? It's just
Yeah.
like if I go to make a subdivision. I bought one lot. I get 15 out of it. So I should be punished for that and just get one because it was one?
And in that one, you've gone into subdivision control. It has nothing to do with us.
No, but you understand what I'm
I
saying.
understand what you're
It's
saying, but there's
business.
no hardship there.
No, I believe
The statute
that.
says that you have to have a hardship. There's no hardship, in my opinion.
To me, there is a hardship
Yeah,
because
but-
the road goes through the lot.
So,
Right.
I don't
That's
know
a
if you guys
hardship.
have any questions on this.
The road
Garrett?
goes through the lot. I
Rob?
didn't put the road there. Why am I? You
Yeah,
know?
that's a different issue. That's something that you have to take care of. I'm just telling you that if I have to vote on this, I don't think that you have a hardship. I don't think it meets the statutory requirements. That's all I'm saying. Now these guys right here, they might have a different opinion. You might have different questions for him.
I'm on the same page.
Well, the housing price is taking lots out of home zoning. It's building houses down there, providing people houses.
I
I really don't
understand that's
care.
got nothing to zone for this
I know, but
zoning
hey,
either.
I'm just
I might
saying.
agree with you 100% on that, but
You know,
this
I could
is
go
what's
in
in
there.
front of me right
Do
now.
you think the abutters want to see 2 units and I condominiumize both of them?
That's up to them. You know what? They had the chance to buy this before you did, right?
So I'll put an 1,800 square foot house, I'll attach a breezeway, and I'll make a condo
Yeah,
on both
so-
of them. So,
So look, I don't know
that's what
how
both lots will be.
what you guys think about this. I don't know if you want to say something. Rob, Garrett,
I'd rather put a 3-bedroom house and then make a nice house for somebody, but, you know, it is what it is. It's gonna be denied, it's gonna be denied. I'll propose something else.
No, I took a drive down there, and that's tight. I even went on that
the road that goes through Spencer. That's,
Yeah.
well, if you want to call it a road, but it was nicer. There's, yeah, we're very clear with the frontage, and yeah, the hardship. There's no hardship for a single family.
That's not, of course, you guys gotta, you know, it's gotta, you guys gonna have your opinion, I'm gonna have my opinion, right? It's just, it is what it is. I just look at it like, you know, one day somebody's gonna build on that lot, whether it's today or it's tomorrow, you know, because a lot of the houses around there, some of them, you know.
Like anybody can build on that lot.
But what I'm saying is one day, so what I'm gonna do is, I don't know, I'll ask Kurt, but I'm gonna submit 5A. There's no issues with that being a buildable lot, correct?
I'm not sure what you,
Okay.
when you say 5A. 'Cause I look, right now I'm looking at a lot that's
So hold on, I just wanna make sure before I
110,000 square
submit this.
feet.
So, before I submit this, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have the A&R then for 5B, okay? I'm gonna just have this noted as, you know, not a buildable lot without further zoning approvals. Now, this lot that holds 175 feet and has the 60,000 acres.
60,000 square feet.
Yes, square feet, sorry. I wish I had 60,000 acres.
Wow.
This is a buildable lot on its own, and I'm gonna submit the A&R basically stating that this is an unbuildable lot without further zoning.
Okay, yes.
Is that okay?
I believe right now,
Okay,
looking at this,
okay,
you have satisfied the
because I'm gonna
requirement.
build on this lot.
Okay.
Okay, this is gonna be the one in question, and I'll
That's-
have to talk to my attorney on how we're gonna handle
And
this.
I said to you in an email today, Chris, I'm
Yeah.
sorry I haven't been able to
That's
speak
no
to
problem.
Jonathan because I guess he's still out of the country.
It's no problem. So the area in question here that we have to fix is here.
Right.
Because we can't use this for area, okay, because
It does not appear that you have clear.
it's prescriptive, there's an easement there that's been used for a long time. Oh, yeah.
That's why I need to talk to a lawyer.
Yeah, no, I get it, it's complex, it's not an easy situation. It's difficult.
Yes,
There's no black and white answer for it, really.
not right now.
So, that's how I'm gonna submit the A&R, and I'm just gonna leave that as an unbuilt, you know, at this point, it's an unbuildable lot, okay, and I'm gonna have that noted on the plan.
Remaining land.
Remaining land. Maybe I can come through this way, up that paper road. Hey, did you see that deed? Bounded and described as follows.
So,
So what, Chris, what is it what you would like to do with the board here? Would you like them to render a decision or would you like to withdraw and go?
if
back?
I render a decision, then it's 2 years unless the circumstances change and I get something from the planning board saying the circumstances changed.
I believe at this point, what you're telling me is there's an issue with title of ownership.
No, well,
To that
my
portion.
my issue with
Yeah.
this petition is I don't think that you have a hardship, okay? So I don't think that, me personally, and like I said to you before,
Yeah.
the other board members might think differently, I'm not sure. And it's totally up to them how they want to vote. But personally, I don't, right now, I'm telling you that I probably wouldn't vote for it because I don't think statutorily that you've met the requirement that you have a hardship.
Okay,
All right,
so
done in
one
chapter
last question
chapter
before we-
40. Yeah.
If I have an abutter that I can get area from,
Then you have 2 A&R lots. Then
So
you
you're
don't
all
even
set.
need us then, right? If you have the area, then you don't need us.
I have a
'cause
notarized letter from an abutter.
Yeah.
If I put those two together, okay, and I can gain 10,000 square feet.
Yeah. If you
Now, are you okay with that? I'm okay with spending a little bit more
Right.
money if it saves you, the town, money, it saves me money.
But the fact of the matter is this: is that if you have 10,000 more square feet, you have two. I mean, as long as you meet all the other requirements, then you don't even need a variance from us. Then.
So, this is what I was gonna ask Kurt.
Yeah.
So, now, Kurt, if I apply as with the applicant, so I have an agreement. I have an agreement, okay, a legal agreement with an abutter, okay? If I purchase that parcel, 10,000 square feet, is this now, am I okay to come off Ether Drive?
I have no idea.
Is
So-
is
so
that
let-
still
let me-
okay?
let-
Yep.
Let me try this, okay? If you somehow amass enough area
Mm-hmm.
to have two conforming lots
Mm-hmm.
that have the required frontage, right? You have two conforming lots with the required frontage. Access is not, well, let's try this. Nothing in my bylaw, the town of Charlton bylaw, says that the driveway for your lot has to come through Charlton. So what I'm saying is sure, if you have rights through Ethier Drive to access that lot, you could put a driveway over there.
So,
If you,
Do you
the other
believe-
issue that we.
do you believe there's an issue with frontage?
I have to go back to look at the plan. Where is your other 175 feet of frontage? So this is that's a mixture of what does, and I looked at Spencer, right? I'm not dumb. I looked at, see what
Yeah,
Spencer
yeah, yeah.
required. The lots on the other side,
22.5.
yeah, much smaller lot, and I think it has a much lower frontage area. But
This is right here. So the frontage right there is 180.
right, I got that. This is clear, right?
So this is
This little bit in here is the same thing. That's the question that I need to speak to Mr. Silverstein about to see how.
So let me do this. When I have the guy draft the A&R plan, talk to Mr. Silverstein, see what he thinks about me acquiring this area,
Mhm.
combining it with this,
Mhm.
okay, and see if we can do something like that to satisfy the town. And I'm willing to purchase this.
Mhm.
Okay, to make this work, to avoid the variance. It's going to cost me some money, but
Right. Okay. So this is a public forum,
yeah,
and we need to be careful about what we're talking about in
Yeah,
a
yeah.
public forum, and me
Yeah,
purporting to give legal advice.
yeah.
So that issue has been talked about.
Okay.
But like I said, I have not had a chance because Mr.
Okay.
Silverstein has been out of town
Yep.
to join all the dots.
Okay. So basically, we'll wait to hear on that before another plan gets drafted.
Okay. So the question again to you is what would you like the board? What would you like to do?
What do you
with the
want?
board
So,
tonight? Do you
I
want
can,
So
if we
I-
vote,
I think at the end of the day, right?
yeah,
The only way I'm going to make this work is I get the area. Now we solve that issue. Now he talks to Mr. Silverstein. We figure out if,
But if you have enough, if you have a conforming lot, all right, with that extra area, if you've worked that part out, then this board doesn't need to make any decision on that at all because you wouldn't need a variance. Okay, so right now, I have three options essentially. The board can vote, and that's up to the board if they want to vote or not. All right, and up or down whether or not they're going to grant you a variance. You can withdraw, and the board can vote on that and figure out if you buy that. It may be a moot point anyways. There may be no need to come back to us if you withdraw. The third option would be is to continue it for another month, which the board would have the option to do as well. But if nothing really has changed between now and then, all you're doing is prolonging the fact that we're going to end up denying you anyways at the end of the day. So, I mean, unless something changed in my mind in terms of your hardship, which I just can't see, like there's any argument that you can make, in my opinion, that's going to change that. Because the way I see it is you bought the lot. You understood what you got when you bought it. Like all of this is, that's you knew you were getting this. So, I don't know how you could change my mind on that. Maybe there's some argument you can make. I don't know. So what do you want us to do?
I mean, basically, you're telling me that you're not going to grant me a variance without telling me. So you might as well just.
So if I vote, then it's 2 years before you can come back to us for a
The
variance.
lot will sit there. I'll just let it sit there. Somebody's gonna have to use it one day. I'm not gonna include it in the lot. Somebody's gonna need to. You know what I mean?
But it's both lots you're talking about, because you're asking for 5A and 5B.
So
Because that's-
5A is going to be a conforming buildable lot.
Right.
It has frontage on Highland. It'll
Right.
have the 60,000 square feet. That is a buildable lot today.
Right. So the only way
5B will just sit there.
the only way, if we vote, the only way that you can overcome that 2 years, I think, is that what is it? The planning board has to revisit it and make a determination that something has changed to allow us to do it within 2 years. Isn't that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, so you would have to talk to the planning board and say, hey, look, this changed on this lot, and it's different from what I originally applied for, and therefore, I should be eligible to get a grant of variance. And if they say okay, then you could come back before us for a variance if you needed to do that, if we want to make a vote tonight. So if you're okay with us making a vote, then I'm giving you the option right now. If you're like, fine, go ahead, we'll vote.
The way I look at it is right now, I think we should continue for 30 days. I think Kurt should have his discussion.
Okay.
Because I keep hearing the word frontage.
Yeah.
Okay, so frontage is the key word in this deal.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go from there. So we'll take 30 days. We're gonna see, if we go from there, and I think that's the best way to take it right now.
All right, is the board willing to extend for another 30 days just on this one?
I don't see the point in it, but
So we don't have to do it. I mean, Rob?
I'm fine with it.
Garrett?
I'm fine with it. New information comes up.
All right.
I make a motion to push this for another 30 days.
Is there a second on that motion?
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. She just put, give him another piece of paper, just saying.
What do you need?
Did you get the White House to sign off?
Yeah.
the medallion stamp.
Use the table if you want to make it a little easier and stuff.
Yeah, so we're all set. We'll come back. If something, I'm just telling you, if something changes in the next 30 days, come back.
That
If it looks
gonna
like,
move.
if it looks like that it becomes conforming, then you can just withdraw, just give something to Dale in writing, because you won't need even us to make a decision. But if we go to another 30 days, the board may want to just vote up or down at that point.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
At that point, I think I'll have sufficient information from Kurt.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
If we can add the area and
Right.
figure out the frontage.
And then once Concom figures out all that other stuff, just come back to us.
They're probably going to say 3 crossings.
I have no idea.
Put 3 bridges
Yeah.
over the river, right?
Could do that, Chris. Does everyone understand what we're doing?
Yes.
Okay.
So, please continue for 30 days.
Yep.
Is there ever really a hardship anywhere? Like, if you want a deck 10 feet off your back, is that a hardship or is that a want?
I think that.
Is that a need?
I think there's a lot of. I think there's a lot of difficulty.
It's more like a want, not a need.
Yeah. I think. Well, I mean, look. If you're putting a deck someplace, sometimes.
Well,
You
you
know,
can put a
if
12 by 8. You don't
You
have to
can't
put a
put.
27 by 8.
Sometimes you want to do something and there's no other place to go. So.
Chris, can you put your name, date, and Highland Road on there? Thank you.
4/8/25. Just want to say, before I came here, I went into my freezer in the basement to get a Nestle drumstick ice cream, and my kids ate it all. I'm like, son of a gun, they ate all the ice cream.
That's why they were mad.
Today, I couldn't think about it.
What?
It's so cold today.
I couldn't even think about it. I was working outside.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
me
Yeah, the temperature really dropped.
It was raw, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're good?
Yep, so we're okay? Gentlemen, ladies, we're okay
So
till
just dismiss that,
30
and then I'll
days?
just resubmit for Sandusdale.
Yeah, once you get that, that way
you.
you're not, like, we're not keeping going back and forth on it.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
might
that's
be a
fine.
couple of months, you know, who knows what
Yeah,
the
yeah.
DEP's gonna do.
You gotta submit to Randy.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody. We're gonna review and approve the minutes from the last meeting. Anyone, have any comments on the minutes? So I wanna make a motion on the minutes then?
Motion to accept the minutes?
There's a motion to accept the minutes as printed.
Second.
Garrett seconds. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion, minutes approved. Any other business that we aren't aware of? Okay, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Yeah. Motion to adjourn, Garrett. Jason makes the second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned.